All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Side Quest Podcast, the unofficial podcast of Fitocracy. If you're not following me on Twitter, check me out at SideQuest FM. You can head over to Instagram as well and follow me there at SideQuest FM. If you want to follow the podcast, head over to Facebook, search SideQuest Podcast, and you can like the podcast there. You'll get updates every Monday when new episodes come out and a little wee reminder on Fridays in case you missed the episode. But if you don't want to miss episodes, the best thing to do is head over to iTunes, hit subscribe, and leave a review. When you do that, that helps us move up the charts. But when you subscribe, you'll get it straight to your iPhone automatically on Monday mornings at 6 a.m. when the episode goes live. You can also listen over at the website at sidequestfitness.com/podcast. While you're there, please feel free to check out the articles that I've put up, as well as my coaching section and all of the fun things I have going on over there at sidequestfitness.com. You can also find that on Facebook as well. I have a great guest for you today. He wrote an article with Game of Thrones as the background, and former guest Travis Pollum was like, you got to get this guy on. And after reading his stuff, I was like, yeah, I have to get this guy on because he sounds awesome. He is from the wonderful, warm and never full of winter area known as Dubai. So I don't really know what happens when winter comes for him. I guess he just puts on a long sleeve t-shirt. But he's living in Dubai. He has an uncomfortable relationship with the sun, loves orangutans, irony, and superhero movies, and writing in the third person. He writes over at theclearytheory.com and now has a brand new ebook out, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. 7 fat loss mistakes you need to stop making. So you can head over there and get your free ebook from him. But the one and the only Matt Cleary. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Robbie. How you doing?
I'm good. We were chatting a little bit about time difference. You are in the future. I'm still in the present, which is always so weird. Like when you talk to people that are across the world, because I forget that sometimes. Like it's the middle of the day for me, and you're like, man, I just had a big carb heavy meal. Like I'm ready to like pass out.
I'm literally sitting in my bed after finishing some Ben & Jerry's. But don't tell anyone because I'm in fitness. Ben & Jerry's isn't good for you.
Whoa. Matt, my listeners know this. I have an obsession with Ben & Jerry's. So much so that they just sent me free swag in the mail. I'm wearing my bracelet that says peace, love, and ice cream. They sent me a t-shirt, some free pints, and I have a pint waiting for me for lunch. So, no. Ben & Jerry's is awesome.
Well, the question is, what is your favorite flavor?
Oh, now see that favorite flavor. I can give you a top 5. I'll go over that real quickly. In no particular order. Cherry Garcia Froyo, I like that a lot more than the regular Cherry Garcia, mostly because on workout days I can pound like 2 of those and I'm still good on my macros. Red Velvet Cake is amazing. Cinnamon Bun. The new one they have out called Tonight Dough with Jimmy Fallon.
Oh my God, awesome. Incredible.
It's so good. And then I had some on vacation that moved up, and that was the Blondie, the caramel white blondie or whatever. That was
the core ones, one of the ones with the like fudge core or something.
It might be, or it was the salted caramel white blondie. I don't know. It was good. That's all I know. Yeah, I love all of them so much. But what is your favorite flavor?
Ben & Jerry's is something I've been experimenting with only recently, I would say.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I never really enjoyed sweet kind of things until about last Christmas time. Put on a little bit too much weight, decided to really cut down over about 4 months. And going from a little bit of sweet stuff to nothing over 4 months, now I'm obsessed. I now have a sweet tooth. And I do find myself returning to half-baked time and time again, much to my body fat downfall.
It is a good flavor. So now before we'll get into the show here in a second, but I got to ask what I can only assume there's so much that Dubai gets. So how many flavors do you have to choose from? Because I can go here to a grocery store and I probably got 12 or 15 if I go to the right grocery store.
Well, that's the thing. If you well, I'm from the UK originally, as you can probably guess from my accent, and back there, it's pretty limited, to be honest. I don't even know what cherry Garcia is. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Oh,
It sounds like something to do with cherry. I probably wouldn't like that, unfortunately. I would say that fish food is probably the one that everybody has had. Fish food is like fish food. What's the one with the big chocolate caramel chunks in? That was pretty. Choo choo. That was pretty good.
okay.
In Dubai, surprisingly, we seem to have everything. Um, cinnamon buns. Even just last week, I couldn't decide between cinnamon buns and the peanut butter cups. So naturally, I bought both of them. That's just generally how it works. Even if I really am big on, I guess we can get to this later. I really am big on macros within reason, but oftentimes I will make Ben and Jerry's fit my macros. I don't care what it takes. I'll fit it in somehow, even if it is a tablespoon. And cinnamon buns is pretty hard to do by a tablespoon, to be honest.
Oh yeah, it is. It is definitely hard. I'm not a fan of cycling, like rest day and workout day, just because it's easier for me meal planning with my wife to keep things flat instead of being like, I can only have this many carbs, so we can't have spaghetti tonight. But there are days where I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna have one of those days where I have more fats than carbs, only so I can fit in the higher fat content Ben and Jerry's. But those are like maybe once every couple of months. But we'll stop talking about ice cream because I could talk about it all day. So Matt, tell us a little, for the listeners, a little about who you are and how you moved from Britain to Dubai and kind of how you got into the world of training athletes.
Yeah, well, I'm originally from the UK. I studied sport and exercise science at university a little over, I'd say about 3 years ago, and during most of my time there, I spent a lot of time training athletes, and that would be American footballers, that would be boxers, that would be tennis players, and I spent a lot of time over in the US training with those kind of athletes, and that was initially my goal, to work with athletes, and I kind of saw myself as an athlete, even though I kind of wasn't, and I think most people kind of have that kind of thing going on. But most people kind of think they're a bit bigger deal than they are. And then it just so happens that I met some girl 5.5 years ago, now my girlfriend of 5.5 years, and she's actually from Dubai. So I decided to move out over here and train regular people like myself, and it's definitely the best decision I've ever made. I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing right now. It's going awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, of course, being happy is paramount, because if you're not, then you start looking for other things, or you just give up on life. And trust me, I've worked in the corporate world for the last couple of years, and I wasn't happy, not one bit. But doing this and starting my business and the podcast and becoming a fitness coach and getting my certification and being in a gym, like I love waking up every day. I love working with the people that I get to work with. It's a lot better when you see, like, when you know you're actually getting something back from someone, like you have that ability to see that you're affecting someone's life instead of being like, oh, here's a piece of paper and some data that I put in an Excel sheet.
Yeah, exactly. Like one of the things I used to want to do, I guess before college, I was always kind of interested to be a doctor or a physiotherapist or something like that. I don't know if that's just because I watch Scrubs so often. It's probably not actually like that. They're probably a little bit more professional actually in the hospitals. But basically, I decided that I gave it. Well, they do head transplants now, don't they? But say you've done something crazy like that, you're very unlikely to see that person again. So you've just changed their life around. You've essentially given them more life to enjoy. But then you don't really get to see the after effect of that. You're not going on a journey with that person. Whilst with personal training, I'm not going to compare myself or us two surgeons, but you can have a huge positive change on someone's life, their health, their mental well-being. But it's very rewarding actually being on that journey with them. So from the start, when we're first establishing their goals, and then leading them on the journey, and then actually seeing appreciation from them. I think that's probably the most rewarding part about the job, as opposed to just going in with a quick fix.
Yeah, yeah, no, totally agree. On my site, I even mentioned that with my coaching, I want to be the Robin to your Batman. I just want to be your sidekick. I want to be there and help support you, and to celebrate when you succeed.
Yeah.
Which is always rough for poor old Robin, because too many times Dick Grayson was like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go do my own thing. But that's a little comic book chat.
I love it. Keep it going.
Are you a comic book fan?
Not in the strictest sense of the term. I'm the kind of guy that watches all the movies, and then I'll read for about 100,000 billion hours on Wikipedia learning about these stories and the characters.
Which will take forever, because for someone like Captain America, who's been around for like 60 years, you're like, good God, there's so much.
Well, yeah, and also he's American, so he's not my favorite. I'll be honest.
Oh, well, I mean, of course, no. I mean, that's coming from obviously me being American and having a connection, with him, which is.
He's pretty cool. He's got a nice shield. I'll give him that. And
Yeah.
whatever he's on, I want. That drug seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I like almost every subsequent movie. I'm like, I gotta get bigger arms. Like, what is Chris? Like, what is he doing? It's ridiculous. His arms just keep getting bigger and bigger.
Well, I always thought that he was quite a small guy, and I actually managed to stumble upon what was that crazy that teen movie. And he had some pretty good traps in his late teens.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, his chest and his arms have certainly come a long way since the Avengers, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's talk a little bit about your philosophies as a coach and a trainer. So you've released an amazing ebook, 7 Fat Loss Mistakes You Need to Stop Making. What out of those mistakes, which was the hardest one for you to stop making?
I would probably say sleep. I would say sorting out my sleep and actually just getting into bed is probably the hardest one, and something that I probably still struggle with already. I'm sure like you and and most other people in the industry, I would love to take all my own advice all the time. But it's pretty tough.
I have to agree with that. I think my biggest thing, and my wife gets on to me all the time about this, is being really, really anal sometimes about like my macros and like hitting things and all of that. But I also want to point out to her that I went off the rails for about 5 months, and I ended up looking like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. Like, I got fat. Like, I didn't get muscular. I got fat.
I've done it.
Yeah. So there's a reason why I do it. But you're right. I think sometimes we all still kind of struggle, and sleep is one of those things for me that's tough as well, because yes, I go to bed and I make sure that I'm in bed by 10:30, but I don't always fall asleep. And my alarm goes off at 5, but if the sun decides to rise a little earlier that day, as soon as sunlight touches like
Robbie.
Matt, are you there?
I am now.
Oh,
So I don't know what.
nope. Google Chrome just decided that it wanted to die on me. So let's pick back
Wait,
up from.
go back.
Do what?
Yeah, all good, all good.
Yep, we're good. So let's just pick back up real quick. So on your second rule, or mistakes that people make are treating themselves too often. Um, how when you coach someone or maybe you introduce someone to something like, I think that's my biggest struggle as a coach when I introduce someone to flexible dieting or if it fits your macros, where they're like, oh, you mean I can have donuts? Because that's the first selling point. We're like, oh, if you want to have a donut or some pizza or some ice cream, and then people start going, so if I just eat a bunch of shrimp and fish and get my protein, then I can eat pizza and ice cream all day.
Yeah. That's the kind of tough thing, especially if you have a new client. They definitely would get pretty much overexcited if you could tell them like if they could even have one tablespoon of ice cream, because realistically they're going to be doing it anyway. I see it as if you try and get a client, you're starting them off, you're trying to get them to be eating more vegetables or something, they're going to be treating themselves anyway. So for me to kind of say that, I kind of assume that they're just going to be doing it anyway. I only need to look at their MyFitnessPals and you know, they're going to be taking so much things that they're not even going to be logging in or things we'll be taking photos of. I really try and tell them, I try to get them to see it as not as a treat, because then the way I say it is, if it fits in your diet, it fits in your diet. I don't really think you need a treat. I generally like to see things as, I tell my clients, you are not a dog. If you do a trick well, I'm not gonna throw a biscuit to you into your mouth. I guess you call them cookies or whatever. We call them biscuits. It's British. But I generally say just because you've done something well, like I don't reward myself with like, okay, I have Ben& Jerry's, but I don't reward myself with a tub of Ben& Jerry's every single time I've cleaned my teeth. I'm supposed to clean my teeth. That's
Right.
just how you're supposed to be doing. Like if so you have 3 servings and vegetables, I'm not then going to go have a pizza. I was supposed to have the vegetables. I generally say, like, if you're eating say 90%, and then you can fit in the foods that you love and enjoy around in that 10% that you have left, I think that's great. But I'm definitely against telling my clients to go treat themselves, because then there's definitely a margin of where they try and push back and try and find some kind of way that they actually deserve some kind of reward or treat. And pretty much they're only doing things they're supposed to be doing anyway. Most people just need to, I think, really just develop a little more self-awareness about the kind of the things that they're doing, the things that they should be doing. I don't know if that sounds a little bit harsh.
No, no. I think sometimes you kind of need to hear the harsh, but that you're right. That I think too many times I've heard people say, "Oh, I walked for like 3 hours today. I can totally have half a row of Oreos."
Exactly,
And,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
You'll have the exact same person. Okay, well, I decided not to have. I didn't have a 400-calorie donut for breakfast like I normally do, so I decided to have a 600-calorie burger for lunch to reward myself. It
Yeah.
doesn't really make too much sense. Or you get I even had one a couple of weeks ago. Some guy said he skipped his cookies for breakfast, and so he rewarded himself by having cookies after lunch. I'm not really sure how that works.
It's so hard because so many times we want to reward ourselves for the work that we've done, and that's why so many people spin their wheels when it comes to to fat loss. And you mentioned, you sort of touch on that in the book, that you like with MyFitnessPal, I tell people, do not track your exercise in it. Don't do it, because yes, it says you burned 200 calories for 45 minutes of working out, but that doesn't really mean you burned 200 calories, because your body might be different than the formula that it's basing it off of.
Exactly, Robbie.
And,
Exactly, yeah.
and then you start living by that. Oh, well, now I can have a treat. But then you just spin your wheels and you never get anywhere.
Definitely, yeah. That's just especially with you. You tend to have clients, I find, that are on either side of the tracking spectrum. You can have the people that don't want to do. They don't want to know how many reps they have to do. They don't want to know the names of the exercises. They just want to they just want you to. They just want you to spoon feed them, and they just want you to lead them around the gym, and that's fine. And then you have the other people, and they want to track their heart rate. They want to measure. They want to weigh all their food. They want to know how many calories their exercises are burning. And those, I think, you can have. There's downsides to both those. Especially new clients, and they feel they do need to track everything. But I think there's only you can only do that for so long before you're going to want to try and blow your brains out. Long term, I'm not really sure how healthy that is, especially if you're literally counting every single step you take each day.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because it can totally change. I just hiked a national park here in the U.S. And of course, I was like, I just want to see what it says. It was a 5-mile hike, according to the pedometer, and it's like, oh, you burned 450 calories, and I'm like, no, I definitely burned way more because I'm climbing mountains, But like, people, it just don't go by that. Is I guess what I'm trying to say. And too many times we think we deserve a treat, but you're right. We're not dogs. We're not dogs. We're human beings, and we're adults. So one of your articles, and I gotta ask, because this is something you sort of touched on, about in a comment you just mentioned, but you wrote an article about not having time, and if you don't have time for this, well, then you don't have time for that. If you don't have time to cook your meal, you don't have time to be on Facebook. Go ahead.
That was a fun one to write, definitely.
Oh yeah, and I try and stay off Facebook. I only try to use it as like a business thing and like getting out there, but even that gets hard because then I'm like, oh, Facebook, look at stuff, and then I'm drawn into crap. And I haven't even looked at Reddit in over 4 weeks, which is amazing for me. But I love it because you're right. If you don't have time, if you say you don't have time to cook, well, if you add up all the time you were on Facebook today, you totally had time to cook, or you had time to get in a 10-minute workout. But I do have to ask, do you really make your bed?
I do.
You do. Is that an important thing for you? Has that always been like a habit you've been in? Because I get up, like I'm looking at my bed right now, and it is disgusting.
I think a lot of the things I kind of see important in my life, whether it's a relationship, as a kid, and I think making a bed is definitely one of them. And I don't know where I first heard it from. I think I was listening to I think it was the Tim Ferriss podcast, and he was talking to some kind of maybe it was the guy that founded SEALFIT, and the guy was like kind of former special ops, and he was talking about you always want to get those those small wins, don't you? Especially whether it's in finance or like or relationships or fitness. You want to try and get some momentum going. You want something to be able to look back upon and like kind of confirm your belief that there is that you do have the confidence to keep on going to reach your bigger goals. And I find that making your bed is so simple. If I've had a tough long day, the last thing I want to come home is seeing my room looking like shit. So it's almost like you go to the gym. I could have a bad day, and if I've gone to the gym, then I'm thinking, well, at least I trained. And then I think making your bed is almost like, this kind of sounds ridiculous, to be honest, now that I'm saying it out loud. But I think you're showing that you have at least a tiny little control over your environment, and that if you can start it, you can start really small as soon as you wake up, and the you made your bed in the morning, next thing you're going to do, you're going to make your own breakfast. You have control of that. So then you're going to make sure you get to work on time. So then you're going to make sure that you're going to get your work done. You're going to make sure you get those emails answered. And I think it's just trying to build that momentum throughout the day, making sure you're ticking those things off. And then when you're on a roll, you're on a roll. But then at the end of the day, if you have had a pretty shitty day, at least you've made your bed. I don't know if there's anything to that. It sounded good at the time when I wrote it. Never mind.
I definitely agree. There's something to that. I know for myself, I have my own sort of morning ritual, and a lot of people have their own sort of morning rituals. For I think the vast majority of people in the world today, or at least in the developed world, the first thing that you sort of do is wake up and think about going back to bed, or sometimes your first initial thought is, ugh, God, I have to go to work today. And you just immediately set the standard for the day, with that, ugh, thought. You've already given a heaviness to the weight of the day.
Exactly. I've had tough, I've always just like in a busy time in the past couple of months, where the first thought I've literally had when I've woken up is, I cannot wait to go to sleep tonight. And this will be 5:30 a.m. and I'll just be saying, okay, you only need to get through another 19 hours and then you can get back into bed. But sometimes it is tough. But you obviously sometimes I always say it's like warming up at the gym. Like some days you're just gonna feel like crap. You don't want to go to the gym. But chances are, by the time you've got to the gym, you've put your clothes on, you've warmed up, most of the time you're probably going to feel good enough to go. So I always say it's like, I may feel crappy, but if I get out of bed, if I get ready, I can brush my teeth, chances are I'm probably going to be able to face the day, even if I can't, even if it's pitch black in my room because my curtains are drawn. I guess it's as Woody Allen said, you need to show up. That's 80% of the world right there, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, just showing up as 80%. Because once you get there, you're like, well, I guess I might as well do what I'm going to do since I'm here. So when you are so you get up and you make your bed, you make your breakfast, you brush your teeth, you head out, and you kind of got that extra pep in your step, and you're like, all right, today's going to be a good day. And then all of a sudden that one thing hits, and it just wrecks your day. What is the one thing that sort of like that can happen, or that usually happens, or that you try to avoid from happening to you, that could wreck your day? And what do you do to sort of bring yourself back so that you can finish the day on a good note?
We're talking kind of non-life changing bad events.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, not like, hey, your mom called and your dad's in the hospital. Nothing like crazy like that. Like, or a meteorite fell and destroyed the building, that your apartment is in. No accident, if you will.
Okay, so nothing too emotionally damaging. I am pretty laid back, even if I don't come across it in my blogs. I'm always like a duck on water, so I seem nice and cool and calm. But underneath, I'm like kind of inside. I'm kind of pedaling like a madman. So on the surface of water, can look kind of calm, especially with kind of clients, especially with kind of colleagues and things like that. I think my blog is where I just kind of let it out. I seem pretty angry and pissed off on my blog all the time, and the things I don't want to say to my clients in person, like saying, "You're not a freaking dog. Stop treating yourself." I think that kind of comes out on my blog. If I had my own way and people enjoyed it, I probably would rant every single post. So sometimes I just need to throw a recipe on there to try and lighten things up. Not sure how that works. I don't know. You give me an example. What kind of bad stuff puts you in a bad mood?
I'll be honest. I struggle with. I really got into Stoicism last year and Marcus Aurelius,
Yes,
and
I love it.
I really really struggle with controlling, with only being able to control what I can control. The other day, for instance, I had bought these really nice seersucker pants at a store at the beach on vacation. I mean, and so good that like I'm in the mirror and I'm looking at myself and I'm like, baby, talking to my wife, I'm like, these pants make my ass look amazing. Like I just stood there and she was like, can we go? I'm like, no, look at this. Like they fit like store brand, like regular, just like off the shelf, like not tailored. My ass looks awesome. And I sit down like a day later because I have them on, I'm wearing them, and loving the feel. And I sit down and I get up and she goes, "Oh my God, there's a giant red stain on your ass." And I immediately flip my shit. Just flip my shit. Mostly because for me, I'm like, great, I just spent money on this and now I have to throw it away. And she goes, "It's not that big of a deal. There's a Walgreens right there. Let's go get a Tide to Go pen, and I'll work on it, and it'll be fine." She buys a Tide to Go pen, puts it on the pants, rubs it in, gone in 30 minutes. So for me, that's my biggest struggle. Is it wasn't something that I expected to happen. I couldn't necessarily control it, but what I could have controlled was my reaction and the steps that I could have gone to solve it. I immediately went to, "Oh, that's it. The world is falling. Everything is fucked."
Yeah, yeah, I would definitely agree. Like one of the worst things you can have, especially, is when you're already out, say at a restaurant, and you think you're looking good. You've got your tan chinos on. You've got your new white shirt, and then you kind of throw it down yourself. I think it's almost gonna. You're just gonna have things could be so much worse. I've been reading a lot of Stoicism recently, also. And I'm liking Seneca. Have you ever read Letters from a Stoic?
I have not read Seneca. Seneca is the one that I haven't delved into yet. I really loved the journal aspect of like Aurelius and sort of like his own personal reflections, but I haven't delved into Seneca yet. Um, only because, well, no excuses. I'll be honest. That's it. I'm not going to make them. I will put that on my Amazon list as soon as we get done chatting and hit order, so that I have to get it and I have it and I will read it. But I was a big philosophy guy in high school, and got into like existentialism and really kind of fell down that rabbit hole for a little while. But no, I haven't read a lot of Seneca. I like that idea of breathe, take a breath. If it's something you can control, then let's figure out how you can change it. If it's something that you don't have direct control over, don't worry about it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I definitely have to. Sometimes there's definitely moments where I have to consciously remind that I find myself getting a little bit hot under the collar. I feel like kind of the blood pressure like kind of rising. I mean, I just have to remind myself there is nothing you can do about it. And one of the reasons why I like Seneca is that compared to Marcus Aurelius, his meditations, as they call it, it's the kind of musings he's having about himself. While Seneca, he's speaking to one of his young proteges, and he's lecturing. It's almost got a one-way kind of dialogue. He's talking to his protege about how to deal with things in life, how to deal with relationships. And that kind of like sounds pretty similar to me, so I can definitely appreciate that. But one of the great things about it is that if you took the Latin names out of it, you would not know it was from Roman times.
I've heard people say that if you just put in like Bill and Matt and Rob, like people would be like, "Oh, who wrote
Exactly.
this?"
Yeah. And I always get the things. I always tend to offload all of my kind of philosophy and mindset onto my girlfriend, who she just kind of smiles and nods her head, but she's like kind of she's inside she thinks I'm an idiot. Um, but I always generally say, like, if you can do something about it, then don't worry and do something about it. If you can't do something about it, then don't worry because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
And so I generally try to apply that to most things in my life. And especially a book that I've really enjoyed recently is Essentialism. That's been pretty popular recently. And one of the things is just acknowledging that most things in life aren't going to be an emergency. You don't need to be on your phone. I'm sure you have this with your clients and things in general. You feel like you always need to be on Facebook. You always need to be checking your inbox. You need to be checking your WhatsApp. But then, like, sometimes it is okay just to sit down, have a power nap, read a book, go out for dinner, and turn your phone off. Because very rare is actually going to be an emergency. And also even more rare is that you can actually just do anything about it. If you've just missed a phone call and it turns out somebody's died on the road, well, they're already dead. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do about it? Unless you are a trained paramedic and you have an ambulance waiting in the parking lot for you, you're probably not going to make too much difference for the person that's in need. And if somebody's locked out of a house, they're probably going to be okay for another hour.
Yeah.
That probably sounds quite a harsh way of saying it, but it makes me feel good.
Well, I agree with that because it's coming to a point on Facebook where I'm going to have to hide people because certain cycles of American political structure are coming around, and it's very interesting to watch people get into debates about things. And I'm like, guys, why are we wasting time talking about stuff like this? Like, there are the 30 minutes you spent wasting your time chatting about this crazy crap on Facebook, you could have actually been trying to implement change. Like, I would rather someone go out and be a doer rather than sit on Facebook and be a keyboard warrior. Like, go do. If you really want to make a change about something, if you really want to make an impact, start making the process of making an impact. I
love this. I completely agree.
It's the same way with. I think it's the same way in anything. Weight loss, relationships, friendships. Don't sit on Facebook. Yes, it's great that we can all stay connected with each other, but man, there's so much more to life than the technology that we've become accustomed to. But it's so hard now, and even my wife points it out that, we've almost become like Pavlov's dogs. I was trying to say Pavilion, but I don't think that's a word. We've become so much like Pavlov's dogs that we just have it in our hands all the time, and it's like we're just trained with a vibration or a sound to look,
Yeah.
Or we're trained that, like, after I finish a sentence, I'm going to go back to looking at this, and yeah,
I think Facebook makes it easy. There have been hundreds of times where I've read someone going off about whether it could be fat loss, it could be someone talking about gluten, it could be politics, it could be religion, and the amount of times I've typed a really lengthy response and then just thought it's not worth it, and I've just deleted the whole novel I've just written. Because there's more important things to think about. The funny thing is, I'll be going through Facebook and I'll be like, oh, look at this dick complaining about so-and-so. Look at this guy going off about something. And I'll be thinking, what a waste of time. And then I'll spend an hour getting myself angry looking at all these idiots.
Yeah.
And then I would have just wasted about an hour of my time with it. And I very much agree with you about things like the things that you can actually have a lasting change on. And one of the things is politics. And politics is something that I try not to get involved. So either become a politician or move. That's where I'm going to sit. Because it's with anything in life. There's no point just making a load of noise unless you're actually going to back it up. Let's start giving solutions as opposed to just calling it. I think it's very easy to point the finger and complain what's going wrong. I think it's a lot harder to actually kind of give a solution on how are you going to deal with it. I think that can apply in anything in life. And most of the time, so I think a lot of the time things just aren't worth complaining about.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Sometimes even in the fitness industry, I'm like, guys, why are we arguing about this? Why? Why?
Yeah.
Why are there 83 comments on this? Why? Why? Like like even last year with the whole like fasted versus fed cardio. Like, all right, I get that we're all looking for like unique data points, and we're all looking for like hacks or ways to better implement this or better. Like, fine, I get it. Like, I don't have a problem with it, but really,
Yeah.
guys, our physiology hasn't changed that much in over 1,000 years. Like, if Arnold got really great success off doing basic movements with a barbell and, eating basic foods, like, I think it still applies for the rest of us because 35 years ago isn't that long ago. We haven't evolved that quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think it's very much with everything in life. It needs to be practical for the individual.
Yep.
You could have the most like kind of scientifically sound training protocol, or it could be anything, whether it's marriage advice or whether it's like how to raise a dog or whether it's how to lose fat. Certain things just aren't going to work for certain people.
Yep.
And what I think more approaches than not, they probably work. And I think it's just like you're just drowning in minutia if you're just trying to be talking about whether you should be how many times, how many grams you need to split your protein synthesis pulses in. You just need to maybe eat a little bit more chicken. I think people overthink things far too much. And at the end of the day, if I like, though it does, but let's assume it doesn't. If someone says, okay, after clean eating, you probably get slightly better results. I don't want to eat clean if I'm only going to gain half a pound more muscle over the entire year.
Yeah.
Because I probably would have given up by like kind of 4 days. So I'm going to keep doing what actually I prefer, even if somebody else can get better results over the long term. I don't think it's going to be that significant.
Okay. All right. So a few more. Let's get some more fun questions in. We've been chatting a little bit about philosophy and getting deep. So let me ask a few fun questions I enjoy to ask with guests and liven it up a little bit. What song is on your workout mix that you would shamefully admit to others you listen to?
Oh no. I'm going to kind of guy that listens to one song over and over again until it's not good anymore. At the moment, that is Blank Space by Taylor Swift. I'm not afraid to admit it. It's an awesome song. I'll probably change my next week.
I put this up on as a video on Facebook or something and Twitter and tagged Greg Knuckles in it. But Greg, when I had him on the show, he was like, "Oh man, Tyler, Katy Perry and Taylor Swift, like that's all I listen to." And I finally made a playlist called the Knuckles playlist. Dude, it is the greatest thing to squat to. Firecracker is awesome. Or like Shake It Off. I'm trying to dance and like squat at the same time. Doesn't really work so well with a lot of weight on your back, but it makes me want to like fucking groove. Like I feel weird saying that because I love rock. I love some metal, but there's something weird about it. I don't know.
I'm definitely. I think I was kind of indoctrinated the whole kind of rap sucks, pop sucks, probably by my father. But recently, I've been loving myself some Taylor Swift, some Katy Perry. I haven't warmed up to Justin Bieber yet. That's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, that's. I'll go old school and go Backstreet and NSYNC, but that's it. That's it.
Yeah, and NSYNC, yeah. I'm liking. I'm sorry, but they're pretty good. I don't listen to I like to listen to podcasts. I love podcasts. I generally listen to podcasts when I'm doing anything and not in front of a client most of the time. Whether it's yours, whether it's someone like I think Jason Frugius is good. I think Tim Ferriss's. I like just kind of zoning out, and sometimes I just realize I've just done a 15 rep squat with what I thought was my 10 rep max. I didn't even realize I did it because I'm listening to someone at the same time.
I had to make a rule with Tim Ferriss that I Matt,
Hello. Sorry, I
I
lost you again.
I Google Chrome is doing something funky, so I don't even know what it's doing. Um,
Okay. You
all
were
right,
saying about Tim Ferriss. You had a rule.
are you there?
Yep. You said you had a rule for Tim Ferriss.
Oh yeah, my rule for Tim Ferriss is that I only listen to Tim while I take walks. If I'm trying to do work while I listen, there's a lot of really good nuggets of like information that I've tended to miss, and I have to go back and re-listen. So I try and listen to that when I'm doing something that my mind doesn't really have to focus on. Um,
I'm always doing that. The worst twice to actually finally get it. Definitely, but there's definitely some awesome material that he gets covered on there. But yeah, walks are great. I like, especially when I'm cooking, if I'm showering, if I'm walking. Yeah, podcasts are definitely. I can see it as dead time. You might as well fill it up with something.
yeah, yeah, I agree. And it's not like there's new music coming out that I'm really super excited about, anyways.
Yeah,
Uh, so yeah, podcasts are a little better option there. Uh,
definitely.
so what is the podcast you would tell all listeners right now that's maybe not Tim Ferriss or fitness based to check out that you've really been hooked on?
Not fitness based. Let me think. I would say this is probably a cop out because this is also one that Tim Ferriss recommends. But I was skeptical at first, I think it's what's his name? Hardcore History is awesome.
Hardcore History is amazing. Oh my God, it's so good.
Wrath of the Khans has just like kind of blown my mind.
I, dude,
Um,
I love
it's
history, and I was like, I didn't even know 90% of this stuff.
oh yeah, definitely, yeah. I think they're almost. I guess it's kind of a bit of an oxymoron, but I guess it's but they seem to be on the cutting edge of history, if that kind of makes sense. They seem to know all of the kind of new kind of theories, and but there seems to be a lot of like kind of nonsense in like kind of history books and things like that. They definitely cut all the way through it. I don't know if he just managed to sell his viewpoint very well, but he has to be convinced that everything he says is just gospel. Like the way he tells his story, especially with the Wrath of the Khans and Genghis Khan, it is amazing. I can almost see the movie playing in my mind. Um, it's brilliant stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely played that movie out as well. I was like, oh my God, they're coming to Europe. Oh God, oh. But yeah, so one of the things I picked up on Game of Thrones is that the Dothraki are sort of like the Mongols of the Game of Thrones
Exactly.
universe.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I was like, huh, all right. I got you. So essentially, George R. R. Martin, you just sort of renamed like different areas of history and European countries and put them all in this fictional world. Uh, but, uh, but yeah. Uh, cool. Well, Matt, I have had actually, speaking of history, one more question that I always ask, and I did steal this one from Tim Ferriss, and I will definitely ask you. If you could have dinner with one person from history, who would it be?
Uh, I would maybe say either Muhammad Ali Um, Adolf Hitler, because I want to see what that crazy dude was thinking, what he was like in real person. And maybe Bill Clinton. I think Bill Clinton would probably be number one for some reason.
Okay, I like those. I like those. You're not the first person to say Hitler, by the way. I had a guest once who was like, I just want to know. I want to like sit down with dinner and be like, who is like the craziest person in the 20th century, like the most evil, like how does your mind work?
But the reason why I think he's interesting is because he didn't think he was a bad dude.
Exactly.
He thought he was the good guy, and I just want to sit there and be like, seriously. And I think another one of the reasons is we had to do some crazy psychology personality test at university, and apparently I have the same personality as Hitler and also Gandhi.
Wait, they have the same person? That just seems very like two people you wouldn't have in the same
Okay,
realm.
well, let me explain because I love this kind of stuff. So basically, it could be all complete bullshit, but there's this type of personality quantifying test called the Myers-Briggs Type Inventory. Okay, so one of the first things is whether you're introverted or extroverted. I'm introverted on that. The next one you get is whether you're more sensing. So are you in touch with your senses? Are you more very in tune to what's going on around you in everyday world? Or are you more on thoughts? And then the last one is whether you're, it's just called judgmental. So whether you like a system, whether you're stubborn, whether you're you like a plan, or whether you like spontaneity and being sentimental. And it turns out that Gandhi and Hitler are both introverted. They're both very much about the big picture. They're both very emotional, and they're both very stubborn. And I guess it turns out whether you're a good or a bad guy isn't really relevant. I guess Gandhi could have. I guess it was almost like being a Sith Lord. I reckon Emperor Palpatine. I reckon if he was a good dude, he would have created some good change. Unfortunately, he went kind of down the wrong path. I guess a little bit like Anakin. I guess.
I mean, you are talking to a man who does consider himself a Sith Lord, but I don't know. It's a different. It's. We won't go Star Wars, but yes, it is a very interesting dynamic that they had similar personality types, per that test, and that they just made bad choices. They like Gandhi made choices that were positive, and Hitler made choices that he thought were positive, but they're really not.
I would like to see them have dinner together. I think that would be interesting.
I have a friend who had this great idea for a movie once, where the U.S. can't decide, like there's infighting or some stuff, and they can't decide on a president, so they go back in time to bring like 12 people, like famous people throughout history, to battle to the death on TV to be the next president. And one of them was he had Gandhi and Hitler like battling it out.
Well, who won?
I don't know because he never fleshed that scene out. He had the very like patriotic scene written out in his head where Osama bin Laden is like under a cliff and George Washington like bumps into a rock that rolls down and squashes him. And then Washington is like, America. I think it was half joking when he came up with the title of this movie. We may have been drunk, or this movie idea. But I always thought it would kind of be cool. Like, yeah, what if you brought like Genghis Khan or Genghis Khan and like Alexander and Hitler and other, even Nero, someone crazy like Nero or Julius Caesar or other great emperors throughout history, Napoleon even. And had them battle it out like in a free for all, last man standing is the new emperor. Like how would that play out?
Well, that sounds like the makings of the world's greatest video game.
It does sound. I'm not gonna lie. Now that I think about it, that like all of them in Tekken, like world history, world history Street Fighter. It sounds pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think Genghis Khan would get on without his horse, though.
Yeah, that's a good. I guess it would be like a Mortal Kombat where he's on a horse, and he's got like bows and arrows and things, and you can attack his horse, and his horse can attack you. But he's bigger and slower, But he packs a lot of power, but he doesn't have a lot of blocks.
Well, he's meant to be a big guy on his own anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how Gandhi would kind of fit in there.
Well, I gotta say this: if you play Gandhi in Civ, Gandhi is a dick. Every time I play Civ, Gandhi is the first person to attack me, and he's the first person to be like, "If you don't give me what I want, I'm going to destroy you." And I'm like, "Damn it, Gandhi! You were supposed to be nice."
He's not nice on Civ at all.
No,
he's a dick.
He is such a dick.
I only discovered you're gonna hate me for this. I only discovered Civ about 3 months ago.
Oh, that's okay. I suck at it. Like, no choices I ever make end up working, so I have to play on like easy.
I can't remember yeah, I think I probably did put on easy. I was a big Total War fan, throughout college I didn't play any video games at all. And some guy, I think it was a client, recommended Civ. I think it was Civ 5. Said it was pretty good. I was okay. I'll download it. I'll see what it's like. I think 2 p.m. I was still playing at 9 a.m. the next morning. That's why I don't play video games anymore. I just get sucked in.
Yeah, I'm a giant video game nerd, and I spent plenty of time back in playing with my gaming clan back in the day, playing Call of Duty and a lot of other games. But I've taken a little break. I play occasionally. I've been playing the new Batman game. When I'm not writing or need a mental break, just to kind of numb my brain a bit. But I have to admit, the new Star Wars game coming out this year, man. Anytime you let me be a soldier in the Star Wars universe, I'm done. I'm like, I've already told my wife, like, I'm taking a week off from you and from work, and I'm playing. Like, that's it.
This is Battlefront.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for that. So, but Matt, I've had an amazing time on the show today. If people want to know more about you, where can they find you, and where can they pick up your new ebook?
Okay, well, the best place for my writing is probably theclearytheory.com. That's my own personal website. I've also discovered this awesome new site called twitter.com. I've only just signed up to it. But if you search for Cleary Theory on there, then you can follow me. I generally post a couple of times per day. But yeah, I'm definitely not an early adopter with the whole Instagram or Twitter. I do have them, and they are awesome. I'll do my best to get some good content out for you pretty soon.
Awesome. Well, guys, head over, and I'll have it tagged in the show notes as well, to theclearytheory.com and pick up Matt's 7 fat loss mistakes you need to stop making. It's a free ebook. It's a great ebook. We touched on a few of the points in the book, here in the show. But it's free. Go pick it up. You might be making some of those mistakes, like giving yourself too many treats, not getting enough sleep, and then maybe you could add in an 8th one called Make Your Bed. We'll make that a bonus one. You know what I'm going to try and do in the morning? I'm going to clean my bed tonight. I'm going to make it before I get in it, and in the morning, that's the first thing I'm going to do. And then I'll see where I go from there on starting it as a morning ritual.
Well, you need to hold yourself accountable, so I want to see your bed made on Instagram tomorrow morning.
All right, done. I will video me making it and put it up on Instagram for you tomorrow morning.
Okay, good. And you can tag in at bed making, and you can get back to us on your favorite bed making styles and tips.
Hashtag I made my bed.
I might even do a tutorial.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Robbie. It's been great. Have a good night. Cheers.
You too.
Bye-bye.